She had exactly $10 left in her wallet. $10 to last her until Friday's paycheck. $10 to stretch through gas, groceries, and whatever emergencies life still had in store. And yet, somehow, standing outside that run-down convenience store on the edge of town, Emily Hayes found herself holding those last crumpled bills out to a complete stranger. It was late afternoon in rural Missouri, one of those ordinary still days where nothing special ever seemed to happen. Emily had just left her second job at the diner, exhausted, hair tied back, uniform still smelling faintly of frying oil. She was heading to her beat-up Toyota when she saw him, an older man sitting on the curb, shivering, hands cupped together like he was trying to hold on to the little warmth he had left. "Ma'am," he said softly, voice hoarse, I could really use a meal today. Anything helps." Emily froze for a moment. Her first instinct was to keep walking. She couldn't afford generosity. Not this week. She'd been barely scraping by since her divorce, juggling 2 jobs while raising her 12-year-old daughter, Lily. Every dime mattered. $10 wasn't much, but it was all she had. "Please," the man repeated, eyes trembling with shame more than hunger. And something inside her cracked. Emily let out a shaky breath, stepped toward him, and pressed her last $10 into his palm. "Get yourself something warm, okay?" The man stared at the money as if she'd handed him gold. "Thank you, miss. God bless you. You don't know what this means." She smiled, though her stomach twisted. "Take care of yourself." She didn't know the security camera above the storefront had captured everything. She didn't know anyone was watching. She didn't know this single act would start something she could never have imagined. She gripped the wheel, nervous. 2 hours later, Emily was driving home along the outskirts of Highway 15 when she noticed a line of motorcycles filling her rearview mirror, at least 50 of them, engines rumbling like thunder. She'd heard stories about biker gangs in the area. Not all of them were friendly. The bikes closed in around her small car until she had no choice but to pull over onto the gravel shoulder. Her heart pounded. She pressed the lock button with a trembling thumb. One of the bikers, a huge man with a braided beard, leather vest, and arms covered in tattoos, approached her window. She rolled it down an inch, just enough to speak. Is everything okay?" she asked shakily. "Ma'am," the man said gently, "are you Emily Hayes?" Now her fear spiked. "Who's asking?" The biker lifted his hands in peace. "Name's Ranger. I'm the president of the Iron Will Brotherhood." Emily swallowed hard. I don't understand why you're here." Ranger stepped aside, and that's when she saw him. The homeless man from earlier stood behind the group, wearing a warm jacket now, eating from a takeout container someone had given him. He waved at her shyly. "This morning," Ranger said, "you gave your last $10 to Earl." Earl nodded. "Told them what you did. They didn't believe someone would give their last money for an old man like me, so we checked the security footage." Emily felt her cheeks warm. "I wasn't trying to make a scene. He needed help." Ranger chuckled. "Well, sweetheart, you sure as hell made one, and our club doesn't let kindness go unanswered." He signaled the others. Before Emily could react, bikers began walking toward her car holding boxes, dozens of them. Food, groceries, toiletries, even a gas can filled to the brim. Someone else carried a thick envelope. What is all this?" she stammered. "A thank you," Ranger said simply. "From people who've been where Earl is. From people who know how rare a good heart is." One biker handed her the envelope through the window. Inside was a stack of bills, hundreds of dollars. I can't take this," Emily whispered, voice breaking. "I don't deserve." "You gave everything you had," Ranger interrupted. "Now it's our turn." Emily covered her mouth as tears poured down her cheeks. She'd been holding her life together with shaking hands for months, never asking for help, never expecting any. And now 50 strangers were standing on the side of the highway just to give back what she had selflessly given away. Earl stepped forward, wiping his eyes. "Miss Emily, if more people were like you, maybe I wouldn't have ended up on that curb. You gave me hope today, and they wanted to give some back to you." Emily stepped out of the car, overwhelmed. Ranger placed a hand on her shoulder. We also called your employer at the diner. Tomorrow, you ain't working the night shift. We're covering your wages and tips for the whole week. What? Why? She sniffled. Because you deserve a break, he said, and because your daughter deserves to see what happens when good people help each other. When Lily ran out of their small apartment that evening, she found her mother in the parking lot surrounded by motorcycles, laughing and crying all at once. Emily knelt, pulled her daughter into her arms, and whispered, "Baby, kindness always comes back, always." Ranger revved his engine. "If you ever need anything, you call Iron Will. You're family now." And with that, 50 bikers rode off into the sunset, engines roaring like a promise. Emily stood there holding her daughter, envelope clutched to her chest, heart full in a way money could never measure. She had spent her last $10 on a stranger. And in return, the world gave her hope, dignity, and a reminder that kindness, no matter how small, has a way of echoing back louder than you can ever imagine.